when too many tenants are not paying their rent,
Yep.
then I'm sorry, not paying their owners. When too many owners, this is what be edit. So yeah, so you know what.
Hey guys, welcome to Spill the Beans. Today I'm sitting down with my buddy Darryl Robinson. I have known him since the early days, back when I was building my initial first 10 doors here in Charleston, South Carolina, back in 2010 probably. And got to meet him back then. He was buying some real estate, had a handful of doors, and we just kind of stayed connected over time. And guess what? I move away, I come back, his portfolio grew, my portfolio grew, and got reconnected, and he actually just joined Legacy Family not long ago, and so I'm just excited to have him in the fam. And so I'm going to sit down with him, talk about his journey. Today he owns, I think, a little over 50 doors. He's got a management company that manages about 100 doors, some of which are Airbnb, and he owns a brokerage with, I think, about 20 different realtors that work for him. So he's expanded his business in multiple different facets, has multiple revenue streams coming in. And I think you guys are gonna get a ton of value out of this conversation. So come grab a cup of coffee with us. Let's go spill the beans. Cool. Darryl Robinson, what's up, buddy? What's
going on,
man? How you doing, man?
Good.
Appreciate you being here, dude.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So
Thanks
welcome
for
to
inviting.
Spill the Beans, man. I know you're local in Charleston, and been wanting to get you on here for a little bit here, but dude, we go far back, right? Yeah. Like in the early days.
Yeah, to the last recession.
Yeah, really. To the last recession. Yeah. Hey, coming full cycle. Yeah. We've seen it together. Yeah. So no, man, I appreciate us staying in contact. I appreciate you being part of the mastermind and stuff. And so what I'd love to do is, why don't you share a little bit about like your background, kind of how you got started as an entrepreneur, and what that journey's looked like.
All right, so during the last recession, I was overseas working in Afghanistan, and I was making a good contract of money, $150,000 a year, and I decided to put my money to use. So what would I do afterwards? Mm-hmm. So I was trying to build up something where I could leave my job eventually down the road.
All right, so you're in the military, you're overseas, you're making good money.
Contractor.
You're a contractor.
Yeah.
Got it, for that. So making good money, and then looking to deploy it. How did you find real estate? And what year is this?
This was 2008 and 9.
Okay.
And
so the market's going like this.
Yep. I was looking at on the internet. So really, I was like kind of beginning of those stages where I was on Charleston Real Estate Guide at the time, and also just on auctions. So I can't even remember the auction websites, but was scouring those listings and finding things for $25,000 to $60,000.
Yeah.
Which all needed.
Dude, they were all over the place, man.
Yeah.
They were all over the place in Charleston back then.
Yeah.
And so you were using your own cash to buy these, or did you use private money, or what was the case?
Oh, so I was just getting loans, so I was putting 25% down.
Got it. Yeah. And the local banks were giving you money for it?
Yeah.
Love it. Yeah. So you build that up, and fast forward today, you've got over 50 doors, right?
Yep.
And you have over 50 doors. You got the management company. It's managing about 100 doors, and about almost half of those are short-term rentals, right? Which is very a lot of work that goes into those, and then even more work than a traditional rental. And then you have the brokerage side of things too. So, like, bridge the gap for me. How did you go from buying your first couple houses there in order to scale it to where you are now?
All right, so when I got to around 5, then my real estate agent introduced me to this guy, Tim Bratz. And you had 10 at the time. So, and then you were talking about how, and that was motivation to me, and it was like, you were talking about how you were submitting 2 offers a day or whatnot. So I'm like, oh, okay. Well, thing was like,
been doing that for a long time, submitting 2 offers a day every single day for over a decade, right? That's how you get a lot of doors.
Yeah. So I kind of fell off the wagon when I came back. So I got my real estate license, and then that's when I decided to, I was just trying to get knowledge in what I was doing. And then just the selling houses aspect, I kind of got caught up with that. And then I got hired again with the air traffic control, working up in Florence. So now I'm working in Florence doing air traffic control and doing some real estate. So I was just busy in the muddle.
Yeah.
And then it took me about 2015 or so. That's when I started getting back into the investing side as, certain opportunities presented itself. I had helped plenty of clients make deals or whatever, because I'd been working with investors the whole time.
So that's all who was buying back then, It was only investors, and they were doing a lot of transactions and stuff. The values weren't really there, but they were buying for cash flow, and there was a lot of opportunity back then from that standpoint if you bought and decided to hold, but there were still, like, I was still transacting real estate back then, you know?
Gotcha, yeah.
And so it wasn't like huge upside, but yeah, so I'm sorry, so you're working with them.
Oh yeah, so and one of my investors told me, hey, I'll buy $1 million worth of property as long as you manage them. I was with Carolina One at the time, who was not going to allow me to manage the property, so I was like, all right, well, I'm going to get that $1 million of sales, so let's go into my company. So I got my broker's license.
Oh, I love it.
And then that was just my way of like, okay, cool, because I was already managing my properties.
I think that's a good point, man, because a lot of people want to go and start the business, but they don't know where the money or where the revenue is going to come from. What was cool is you had this contact, and there was like a safety net there, right? Like, you know, this person's going to go and buy real estate. Like, so you had predictable income coming in if you just pivoted a little bit and you know, changed with what was happening in the times and said, hey, let me go and create my own business, right? Which a lot of people say, no, you know, that's super risky. I can't believe you know, dude, is it? Is it controlling your own financial future? That's risky? I don't think so, you know? And you were, and you had predictable revenue that was going to come in because you had somebody who was ready to write checks and give you residual ongoing business from managing that property.
Which is recession proof.
Exactly. Love it, man. So you get your brokerage, then what?
So then I was really just to help me just to make my own rules so I could do whatever I wanted to do.
What year was that, by the way?
That was 2015.
Yeah.
So as I got my brokerage, then I went in with an investor, and we did a triplex downtown on Congress Street, which we did at Airbnb. And at the time it was foreign to me, but that was you know, just a step. And just doing that management aspect, I learned everything I knew. Everything
we do to start out is always foreign. You know what I mean? Like everything's new. There's always a learning curve on everything that we want to do, and we all start out somewhere without knowing anything about it, right? But it's sticking with it and continuing to increase your knowledge and increase your experience and doing that thing that then makes you an expert after 3, 4, 5 years.
Yeah.
And then it's like, oh, well, you know, you can sit down, he knows all this stuff about real estate. Well, no wonder it's easy for him to do real estate. No wonder it's easy for him to do management. Well, dude, you cut your teeth on things for 7 years, right? Before you got to where you are today of how to have the systems and processes and procedures in place to run your Airbnb.
So really had to learn the hard way.
So now that you've got your brokerage, now you got the management company.
Okay.
Now you start buying Airbnbs and start managing those.
Yep.
And you're still working a job?
Yep. So I was still, and that's 2016, and I was still working actually in Florence. So my life became dependent upon getting to Charleston, which I ended up doing. I finally got here in 2018.
Yeah.
But and then that's when I started, because at the same time I was buying some flips here and there, and then making missteps because I'm driving back to Florence. I'm only here for a day or two, and it was like, this is not going to be sustainable.
Yeah, it's like. So what'd you realize? You realized, dude, I either need to move to where my deals are, or I need to create a business, right, and hire the right people.
Correct. Yeah.
So it was a combination of both, though, right, that you did?
Yep. So then, and actually two and two. So then my mother, she had got laid off, but when I was overseas, she had been managing my properties. So she already had property management experience. So now I had 15, 20 properties I was managing on my own while I was still working in Florence. So I was like, oh well. She already knew the system, so she went and got a license and then started taking over the management aspect of it.
Love it. So then you left that job, you make it to Charleston.
Transferred down to Charleston.
You transferred down to Charleston, still at the job, and when did things really start picking up? So you're managing 20 units for other people. How many units did you have at that time?
Like 8. 8?
Okay.
Yeah.
And then when did things really start picking up for you when you started acquiring and got up to this phase of owning 50 plus doors?
So I met my accountant introduced me to another guy that just had sold his pool business. He wanted to invest, but he wanted me to partner with him. So then it was like, well, okay, I have some money. So we did a flip. And then it was like, all right, so what do I do with my next money? So he had a whole lot more money he wanted to put out there.
Dude, I love it. I love that. You didn't go in for the kill right out of the gate, though, with this investor who's got a bunch of money, sitting on a big pile of cash. And like a lot of people would be like, well, yeah, put all your money with me, right? You're like, no, dude, let's go and do one flip. You know, let's make sure that you like doing business with me and I like doing business with you. And then if we like doing business, then we can go do another deal and another deal and another deal. And I'll tell you, man, like every time that I've done a small deal with somebody, all of a sudden they find a lot more cash somewhere else to bring for the next deal.
Correct.
And more cash for the next deal. And more, dude, and that's the key. Everybody wants big investors right out of the gate. You got to be willing to go out and do some small deals first before you can get the big check writers to come in and, make your life really, really easy, But you got to do a lot of small deals. There was a deal that I did where I had to raise a bunch of money in a short amount of time. And I had to raise $4 million in 48 hours. And I was able to do it. I've never raised that much before, ever. $600,000, I think, was the most I've ever raised for any given deal. And I had months to do it. And so I had to raise $4 million in 48 hours. And there was a guy who came in with $1.5 million of that over the course of 48 hours of a weekend in the summertime. And he downstroked a check for $1.5 million. You know why? Because I did a $40,000 deal with him, a $160,000 deal with him, and then a $200,000 transactional funding deal, like a week had his money out and back. And I did 3 little deals with him. Yeah. And because I executed on all of those, and one of them didn't even go right, dude. One of them actually went long. Yeah. And I had to pick up the phone and say, hey, man, I thought we'd have your money back in 6 months. It's looking like 9 or 10 months now because, a couple things shifted, the contractor this and the contractor that, and the timing and this, whatever. And guess what? I communicated it with him. Yeah. Dude, he's a smart business guy. Mm-hmm. Anybody who can write a big check like that understands business, understands that things don't always go well. The key is communicating that to those investors. Yeah. And I did, right? And I communicated that to him. And because I had 2 deals that were wins, and he ended up making money on the last one, just timeline went longer. And I communicated through those difficult circumstances. He's like, dude, I want to do more deals with Tim Bratz, man. I want to be all in with you. And so he ended up writing a check for $1.5 million for me over the course of a couple of conversations on a weekend without really underwriting the deal. He was looking at me as the individual. And that's what this guy did for you. Yeah. He did a small deal with you, saw how you executed, and then started bringing bigger checks, huh?
And it's cool. It's funny, almost the same exact way. So we did that first deal, and then we were on another deal where we're flipping a property, $65,000 or so, and we couldn't sell it because when too many owners are not paying their HOA dues, then you can't get traditional financing. So you have to put down 25%.
Because the HOA was unstable?
Yes, correct.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah, so we ended up having to look at it, doing rental, so long term. And then I was like, well, you know what? This other lady I met that wanted me to manage her other properties is doing Airbnb up here on almost a Star Road. So I was like, well, and this was on Otranto, so I was like, up in North Charleston as well. So I was like, well, maybe Airbnb can work out here, even though I've done it downtown. So let me try it here. So, and we had 2 flips going on the same size. And then being that, same thing, I communicated with him that, hey, these flips aren't going to work, but let's try this Airbnb thing. When the apartment deal came out in Florida, I didn't have the money at the time. So he went and fronted me the money until I paid him back a year later.
Got it. Dude, so dude, you looked at something. You saw that one exit strategy wasn't going to work. Correct. Quickly pivoted. Said, hey, what's the next best option other than selling? Yeah, I could throw a traditional tenant in there and make, what do you think?
It was going to be $1,100 a month.
$1,100 a month, or Airbnb it and make how much?
So at that time, I estimated $2,000, but then we did it, and it was like, oh, it's $25,000 to $3,000.
Wow.
And I was like, hold on.
Dude, 3Xing the rental revenue, and all of a sudden you look like a genius.
Yeah.
Right? So why wouldn't you want to throw more money at you?
Yeah.
And so you did a flip with them. Bought a couple other flips that were going to be, that then didn't go right, turned into rentals, but you took lemons and made lemonade out of it in those rentals, and then come across some apartment buildings down in Florida.
Yep.
Which part of Florida?
Panama City.
Okay, love it, dude.
So
Panhandle.
Yeah, something that got decimated in Hurricane Michael.
Yeah.
On that one, we bought it for $1.5 million for 34 units and 5 boat slips. No, I'm sorry, not 5, 15 boat slips.
Wow. On the water?
Yep, on the water. So once we
you bought it for how much?
1.5, but it had to be completely.
So it was $50K a unit, not even.
Yeah.
40, 42 or whatever it was per unit, not even including the boat slips, and then it was wrecked. Yep. You had to go in and essentially down to the studs and redo the whole thing, or what?
Yep. Yeah. So
how much did that cost you?
About $2.5 million.
Okay, so you put a substantial amount, like another $80,000 a door in.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the way the partnership worked, it was just with my property manager that was down in Florida from when I bought my first house. Essentially, we got the loan, but all I had to put in was 125.
Of your own cash?
Yeah, my own cash for 20% of equity in the deal.
Oh, damn, dude. That's amazing.
Yeah.
Because you also raised the rest of the money.
Yes, correct. Help them with that as well, too. Yep.
So you got some additional equity for bringing the other cash. You only had to put in $125K of your own money.
And my partner also brought in some money as well, too.
Yeah. Dude, I love it, man. And so what are those 35 units rented for now? Are they short-term rentals?
No, so only like 1 or 2 short-term rentals, but everything else long-term. Right now, the rent's around like $1,400, and there's like 2-bedroom units or whatnot, 2 to 1 bedrooms. But we already did the refi cash out. When we cashed out, I had a nice paycheck of like $250, and then
on top of getting your money back?
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry. Not on top of getting my money back.
Okay, so you got your 125.
125, and I plus 125.
And doubled it.
And then now I still get monthly about $3,000 a month.
Dude, from a single deal.
Yeah.
Right? And I think that's something that people don't realize is like, how many deals you got to do? Dude, one can change your life.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like one, and what you're not even including there, and that people need to understand is like, dude, there's also principal pay down on your loan every single month.
And depreciation.
And depreciation to offset that $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
And obviously rents are growing in proportion to what inflation's doing. So that $3,000 a month is going to turn into $3,500, $4,000, and $4,500 as you continuously bump up rents over the course of the next 6, 10, 15, 20 years as you own this building. And
I got my money back.
Bro, and all your money's off the table, so it's an infinite return. And dude, the reality is it's waterfront property in Florida.
Yeah.
You know, like how can you not you got an A-class asset that's going to continue going up in a place where people are continuously moving toward and moving to, and dude, it's like, how many of those can you do? You know, it's like, how many of those can I add to my portfolio? So I was going to do some math on my phone, that's why I pulled it over, but we don't need to dive into that. But dude, I love it, man. So what are some of the pivots that you're making over the course of this year, right? And what does the next 24 months look like for you?
So I finally left the job.
Love it, dude.
Yeah.
Love
in
it.
June, while I was at your summit.
I love it, dude. So, and that's the thing, man. Hey, if you have a job, work full-time on your job, work part-time on your fortune, right? That's exactly what Darryl did. And then all of a sudden, your fortune becomes enough where it outweighs what you're making in your job. You can leave your job and go full-time on your fortune. Dude, there's nothing more exciting than that. So you did that in June.
Yep.
As you were at the summit, getting elbowed by everybody, like, dude, come on, you can do it. We believe in you. Yeah. And you got an amazing community around you now. So like, since that, what's happened in the past, 4 months?
So met up with Rafa and Juan Carlos, and really it went from systems because last year I was only managing 8 Airbnbs, and I was doing that myself. Yeah. But then that was April, but I realized that as I was starting to show investors these returns, they wanted some of the pie. So I was like, oh, this thing's about to blow. Yeah. So I hired my wife, since she was at home at the time, just to take care of our son, to start hosting and helping me manage the Airbnb side of things. Yeah. So now we're at 20, and I was still working my job. So
love it, dude. Now
I had to go and make everything that was just in my head and whatever to systems. So that's what we kind of talked about. So with Ralph, we kind of created a little bit more systems, and that's basically I've been trying to work on getting more efficient. Yep.
Yeah. No, I mean, both of those guys are rock stars when it comes to short-term rental game. Yeah. They know it inside and out, and not just short-term rental, like corporate rentals, like hospital rentals, like traveling nurses, traveling doctors. There's an entire world of people who will pay a premium on rent if you know how to tap into it, you know? And it's one of the things that we're working on right now too, because we own a big apartment building that's across the street from a hospital, a little bit south of here. And so, dude, the hospital's hammering out, like, when these units gonna be ready? Like, we'll take 40 of them. No, we'll take 60 of them. Like, how many you got? Yeah. And they're willing to pay like legitimately 2x, right, of what market rate rent is. Okay. And I'm looking at these numbers. I was like, this is a decent deal, right, on paper, if I had regular renters on annual leases. But dude, by somebody coming in and paying a premium of 50%, 70%, or even 100% more on rent, and all you have to do is furnish it, and you cover utilities, you're like, dude, almost all that goes to the bottom line. And now, you take a building that was worth $13 million, now it's worth $22 million, just because of those additional rents.
Is that because you have like plenty of units to offer, or?
Yeah. I mean, we have 50 units.
Gotcha.
Or I'm sorry, 60 units there.
Okay.
So we have 60 units that would rent for $1,500 to $1,800, depending on 1 bedroom or 2 bedroom.
Yeah.
And instead, they're offering us 3 Gs, dude. 3 Gs per door.
Yeah.
3 Gs per door, and all we have to do is furnish it with a bunch of friggin' IKEA furniture and shit. Like, that doesn't cost anything. And then it's going to cost a couple $100 in, let's call it $100 a month, maybe $200 a month in utilities. But dude, we're getting an extra $1,300 to $1,500 a month because of it. And again, we haven't signed the leases yet or anything. We have the conversations going right now. Like, they're ready to take them down. They're hounding us on a monthly basis, saying one of these things is going to be have a certificate of occupancy, and when can you have them ready? So I'm hoping it all stays, on the track that it's going on. But dude, you know what? And the thing is, like, Airbnb, financiers don't really love Airbnb yet.
Yeah.
It's gonna come. It'll be there. Or you can partner with a company like Rafa's, and Rafa will come in and lease the unit from you at a premium, and then he'll Airbnb it. But then you can get that premium on rents. But if I can get the hospital, or you can get a corporate rental to go and sign, kind of like a midterm, I don't know, like a 3-year, 5-year, 10. I don't know if they sign a 10-year lease, but dude, they'll sign. They told us they offered a 3-year lease. If I can get them to a 5-year, dude, the bank will give me a massive valuation and give me a loan on a 5-year term as long as they're there, and I'll be able to pull some money off the table and all the exciting parts. So, like this conversation, I feel like it's gone and come back to and circle back to several times of like, what happens when adversity faces you? Like, how do you pivot, right? How do you change? As the market changes, how do you change? As life changes, how do you change? Like, what are the things that you're doing to adapt and move and dodge and weave all the different times? And I think that's like what an entrepreneur does, is they look at problems, they figure out solutions to it, right? Or if a problem hits them, they're able to quickly pivot and look at a different angle, a path of lesser resistance that they can move forward on. And dude, that's what I commend in you, man. It's what you've shown. So,
just how we were talking about, like the next steps.
Yeah, what's the next 24 months look like?
Oh, well, how that's houses sitting on the market, people are going to be more willing to negotiate, get better terms on deals. So, next 24 it looks like more buying.
I know, man. Yeah, I mean that's what we're sizing up to do. Just getting everybody that I know who understands business isn't scared about an economic shift. They're not scared about the market cycle changing. Everybody who knows business, who've been around the block long enough, dude, they're all salivating, waiting for this opportunity.
Yeah.
They're all excited about it. They're about to go on buying sprees. They're positioning themselves with their current portfolio to make sure it's stabilized, so they don't have to think about it or worry about it on an operational basis. So that way they can go all in on acquisition mode. They're stockpiling their own cash or prepping their investors to get ready to start writing checks because they're going to go on a buying spree. And dude, I think that's what the best investors and business owners are doing right now, man. They're getting ready, and at the same time, like, we're not stopping buying, right? Like, I'm still buying deals right now. Even if this thing is going this way, I'm still buying deals that are good deals. I'm not a believer of trying to time markets. I'm not a believer in trying to hit home runs only. Dude, I'm a believer in do deals if it's a good deal. Always be doing deals. By doing deals, you're more relevant in the marketplace. Your investors are paying attention to you more. You're meeting more brokers. You're networking with more sellers. You're continuously improving your skill set if you're always doing deals. And base hits win ball games, not home runs. Consistent base hits over time is what's going to win the game. And so, regardless of where we are in the market cycle, regardless of what's happening in the economy, man, I'm a big believer that you just keep on doing deals all the time. And you can pick your head up in 10 years and be like, dude, that was awesome, right?
Yeah.
Because the grand slams don't fall in your lap, man, unless you're out there swinging the bat over and over and over and over again, you know? And so you got to be relevant. You got to be in the game all the time and making offers all the time. in order to have that. Oh my gosh, he got super lucky on that one.
Yeah, no.
Did I? Did I? It's because I've been in the game making offers
Yeah.
for a decade
Yeah.
that I got lucky on that one deal.
Yeah.
So that's good, man. Well, I'm excited, dude. I'm excited to be on the journey with you. I appreciate you. Super proud of what you're building, and that you left the W-2 job, and we'll do everything that's coming down the pipeline for you over the next couple of years. So excited for you, bud.
Cool. Thank you.
All right. Hope you guys got a ton of value out of that. Make sure you're connected with Darryl. Connect with him on social media. He's always putting out great content about his brokerage, about the management side of things, and the investment side of things. So make sure you connect with him on that side. If you got some good takeaways, please put it in the comment section below. If you have any questions that you might have, put it in the comment section below. And do me a favor, just give me a like and hit the subscribe button so that way we can kind of beat the algorithm here and continue providing as much value as we possibly can and helping as many people as we possibly can. So appreciate you tuning in. And until next time, see you next week on Spill the Beans.